Salam keluarga Malaysia. Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Berita RTM and you're watching News at 10. Our headlines for tonight. 222 million ringgit allocated for 3 large-scale projects in Kepala Batas. TNB does not want GE15 campaign materials on company towers and boxes. A total of 222 million ringgit has been allocated to develop 3 large-scale projects in Kepala Batas, Pulau Pinang. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said they involve the Kepala Batas People's Housing Program (PPR), the Bandar Putra Bertam Mosque and the Kepala Batas Youth Centre. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the Bandar Putra Bertam Mosque will be built on a 5-acre land and is expected to benefit 1,500 congregants. He said the Kepala Batas Youth Centre will be developed on 25 acres of land equipped with various sports facilities of international standard. Meanwhile, the Kepala Batas People's Housing Program involves the construction of 700 housing units of 4-storey flats with basic facilities to be implemented on a 20-acre land.
Kos pembinaan seunit rumah ini adalah 161,000 rumah yang akan dibina nanti. Rumah pangsa ini. Tetapi akan dijual kepada tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dengan harga hanya RM45,000 seunit. Ini bermakna subsidi bagi setiap unit rumah adalah RM116,000 dan jumlah keseluruhan subsidi yang ditanggung oleh kerajaan bagi projek ini adalah sebanyak 81.2 juta ringgit.
The Premier said the projects portray the government's commitment to helping the people of all levels of society without any discrimination against development in states or constituencies led by the opposition in the country. Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB does not want political parties to put up campaign materials on the company's premises and electrical installations during the 15th General Election GE15 campaign period from 5th to 18th November. TNB Chief Distribution Network Officer Wan Rasmi Wan Mahmud said such a move could invite danger because it risks causing electric shocks. According to Wan Nazmi, the act could also cause a power outage if flashover arcs occurred, which could damage property and even be life-threatening. He further explained in a statement that putting up campaign materials can also prevent TNB employees from gaining access for maintenance and supply restoration work. He also said the prohibition include posting or hanging posters, flags, banners on transmission towers, electricity poles, supply boxes, substations, concrete electricity poles and overhead lines. People are also advised not to hold, carry or install flagpoles under the power transmission lines, including flagpoles made of bamboo, as there is danger of electric shock. Barisan Nasional BN Pahang is featuring 25 new faces as its candidates to contest for the state seats in the 15th General Election GE15, which is described as a step towards getting fresh and new ideas. Pahang BN Chairman Datuk Seri Wan Rosdiwan Ismail, when announcing the candidate names, expressed confidence that this is the best lineup capable of bringing stability and prosperity to the state.
30% adalah calon muda berumur di bawah 45 tahun. Bagi kursi parlimen, seramai 2 orang. Manakala bagi kursi DUN, seramai 15 orang calon atau 36% adalah mereka yang di bawah usia 45 tahun. Kita yakin ini adalah satu pengiktirafan oleh Barisan Nasional kepada anak muda untuk terlibat sekaligus menyumbang secara langsung kepada Pentadbiran Negeri Pahang dan masyarakat setempat.
He said 8 women candidates had also been entrusted to represent BN in Pahang this time round. Overall, Datuk Seri Wan Rosdi said UMNO will be contesting 34 state seats in Pahang, while MCA will contest 6. In GE14, BN won 25 of the 42 state seats, while Pakatan Harapan PH secured 9 and PAS had the remaining 8. For parliamentary seats, BN won 9, PH secured 5 but lost 1 after Datuk Seri Saifuddin Abdullah joined Bersatu in 2020. In Perak, over 50% of BN candidates for the state seats are new faces. However, BN has yet to announce the candidates for 4 state seats, namely Aulong, Jelapang, Sungai and Buntung. Perak BN Chairman Datuk Seri Sakrani Mohamad said the candidates for these state seats will be announced at a later date as negotiations were still in progress.
Aulong ini itu seat asal dia adalah seat gerakan. Jadi bila seat gerakan ni peringkat komponen masih lagi berbincang siapa yang patutnya diberikan seat itu. 3 lagi seat MIC, Buntung, Jelapang dan juga Sungai. Mereka belum menamakan lagi kepada saya. Semalam untuk parlimen dah diumumkan. State seat belum lagi.
He said this during the Perak BNGE 15 candidate announcement at a hotel in Ipoh. During the announcement, Datuk Seri Sakrani said he would defend his Kota Tampan seat. He also announced that BN Chief Communication Coordinator Muhammad Syafiq Fadli as the party candidate for Larut parliamentary seat in the GE15 to replace independent preacher Datuk Muhammad Kazim Ilyas. Perak has 59 state seats and in the last general elections, BN won 27 seats all through UMNO candidates. Perak BN aims to win at least 40 state seats and 15 parliamentary seats in GE15. Terengganu Police have identified 7 locations categorised as hotspots throughout the state ahead of the GE15. The State Police Chief Datuk Rohami Mat Isa said the 7 locations identified are Kuala Nerus, Kuala Terengganu, Marang, Besut, Hulu Terengganu and 2 locations in Dungun. Datuk Rohami said the locations were categorised as hotspots due to several untoward incidents that occurred at such places during the 14th general election.
Ia adalah berdasarkan kepada insiden-insiden lalu ataupun atas kawasan-kawasan yang dikenal pasti mempunyai beberapa individu tertentu, kelompok individu tertentu kelompok dan individu tertentu yang mungkin menimbulkan sedikit kegusaran kepada masyarakat. Jadi atas dasar itu bukannya atas faktor-faktor lain. Jadi 7 hotspot ini akan kita beri penumpuan yang lebih bagi sepanjang kempen pilihan raya pada kali ini.
He said 3,818 police officers would be on duty throughout the GE15, adding that police will also be assisted by 585 Rela members plus 101 police volunteers reserve corps. Meanwhile, in Kelantan, 9 hotspots were identified based on previous incidents. Kelantan Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Zaki Harun said these locations involve 3 parliamentary areas and 6 state constituencies.
Dan ini juga bergantung kepada apabila selesai proses penamaan calon, kita akan lihat berapa parti yang akan bertanding, siapa yang akan bertanding. Itu akan mengubah fokus. Kerana sekarang ni kita tengok banyak gabungan kan. Jadi ini pun kita kena tengok juga dan mungkin ada perubahan dari segi jumlah. Sebagai contoh, satu parlimen tu mungkin 2 ditandingi oleh 2 yang boleh katakan so-called gergasi lah katakan. Mungkin satu penembungan yang sengit, itu kita fokuskan.
He also said that the Kelantan IPK's Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department had also made special plans to ensure that traffic flow on polling day would be well controlled. Coming up next, cooking oil price to drop starting 8 November. The implementation of the world's first single wholesale 5G network by Digital Nasional Berhad (DNB) will enable mobile network operators MNOs in Malaysia's telecommunications industry to potentially save about 30 billion ringgit in infrastructure construction cost in the next 10 years. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tunku Abdul Aziz said this will enable MNOs to focus on improving 4G services and providing innovative and high-value 5G services to benefit the people and businesses. 5 Malaysian MNOs Celcom Axiata Berhad, DG Telecommunications Sendirian Berhad, Telekom Malaysia Berhad TM, U Mobile Sendirian Berhad and YTL Communications Sendirian Berhad signed their respective 5G access agreements with DNB as of 31st October. Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul described the 5G access agreement as an important achievement to implement the country's 5G vision to drive long-term digital economy development. He revealed that the cost of developing the 5G network is 16.5 billion ringgit over a 10-year period without any government funding or guarantees other than an equity injection worth 500 million ringgit to start DNB's operations. The setting up of 5G services will raise productivity, efficiency and innovation, which is expected to create 750,000 high-skilled jobs and generate 650 billion ringgit in gross domestic product cumulatively until 2030. The institutions of Islamic religious affairs at the federal and state levels need to form a network of communication and understanding in all aspects with all related agencies. Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali said this is to ensure the planning and implementation of integrated Islamic affairs management in the country. Explaining further, Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki said Islamic affairs management is different from the ordinary management because its role is not only about administration and management, but it is also a source of reference and guidance in the religious field.
Kita melihat sini inklusif masalah saling membaik dalam penentuan hukum hakam yang membuatkan kepakaran dalam berbagai permasalahan hakam dan masalah agama yang semakin kompleks berjaya diungkap hasil musyawarah dan sifat keterbukaan pada pandangan yang kontemporer.
Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki stressed that the management of Islamic affairs needs to be inclusive in all aspects and not exclusive to some aspects or certain groups only. He said religious administrators also need to be actively involved and play a prominent role in various matters related to community administration and management, apart from voicing new ideas based on the Maqasid Sharia approach. The price of 5 kilograms of cooking oil will drop by 60 cent to 30 ringgit and 90 cent effective 8 November to 7 December. The Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry (KPDN-HEP) also announced the price of a 3 kilogram bottle of cooking oil would be 19 ringgit and 60 cent, 13 ringgit and 30 cent for 2 kilogram bottle and 6 ringgit and 90 cent for 1 kilogram bottle. In a statement today, KPDN-HEP said the new prices were set after the government continued to control the price of bottled palm cooking oil implemented since 8 August. The price control is imposed following the movable ceiling price method based on the average world crude palm oil price. KPDN-HEP said under the Price Control and Anti-Profiteering Act 2011 could be taken against any party selling the cooking oil above the maximum ceiling price. An immigration officer and 6 Indian nationals were detained for alleged involvement in a human trafficking syndicate. Immigration Director General Datuk Seri Khairul Zaimi Daud said the 31-year-old officer and the Indian nationals aged between 20 and 42 were detained at about 7:45 p.m. yesterday at Kuala Lumpur International Airport 2 KLIA 2. In a statement, Datuk Seri Khairul Zaimi said the Indian nationals were believed to be attempting to enter the country without valid passes, with assistance from the officer to avoid paying the levy. He said the syndicate would offer fake visas to foreigners to enter Malaysia as tourists, apart from providing accommodation, a visitor program and a sum of money to show that the foreigners were genuine tourists. He further noted that the immigration officer was involved in issuing the passport stamp without recording the movement of the foreigners in the MyIMM's system. Initial investigation showed the syndicate charged between 5,000 and 6,000 ringgit per foreigner. The syndicate was believed to have been operating since April this year. Datuk Seri Khairul Zaimi said the department would step up the efforts to gather actionable intelligence to curb human smuggling and trafficking. He added the department will not compromise in taking action against any party or individual, even if it involves its own officers. In our foreign front, Foreign Ministry confirms no Malaysians died in Itaewon Halloween stampede. The Foreign Ministry confirmed today that no Malaysians were killed in the Halloween stampede in Seoul, South Korea last Saturday. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Abdullah said that one Malaysian female who was reported injured during the deadly Halloween surge in Itaewon received outpatient treatment at Jugang University Hospital in Seoul, and her condition has been reported as stable. Elaborating further on the matter in a statement, Datuk Seri Saifuddin said the Malaysian Embassy has since contacted her parents and provided assistance in their travel arrangements to Seoul. He said the embassy will continue to monitor the situation and will provide updates from time to time. He further noted that Malaysians who were affected by the incident and in need of consular assistance have been advised to contact the embassy in Seoul by telephone or email as shown on the screen. More than 150 people were killed in the stampede last Saturday. A Thai student aged 27 was among those who were killed during the incident. North Korea fired at least 23 missiles today, including one that landed close to South Korea's waters in what President Yoon Suk-yeol said was effectively a territorial invasion. One short-range ballistic missile crossed the northern limit line, the de facto maritime border, prompting a rare warning for residents on the island of Ulleung-do to seek shelter in bunkers. North Korea also conducted an artillery barrage, firing into a maritime buffer zone set up in 2018 in a bid to reduce tensions between the two countries during an ill-fated bout of diplomacy. Seoul's military said it was the first time since the peninsula was divided that a North Korean missile had landed so close to the South territorial waters. South Korea, for its part, said it had fired 3 air-to-ground missiles into the sea towards the north of the two countries' maritime boundary.
윤석열 대통령은 즉시 긴급 국가안전보장회의를 소집하고 관련 사항을 보고받았으며 북한이 분명한 대가를 치르도록 엄정한 대응을 신속히 취할 것을 지시하셨습니다. 이에 따라서 우리 군은 공대지 미사일 3발을 발사하였습니다.
South Korea closed some air routes over the East Sea, also known as the Sea of Japan, advising local airlines to detour to ensure passenger safety in the routes to the United States and Japan. A shooter injured 2 police officers yesterday in Newark, United States. Police officers were responding to a 911 call from a caller who said he had identified a suspect from a previous shooting which happened on 28 October. According to Newark's Mayor Ras Baraka, the officers encountered the assailant in the parking lot as they were leaving the building, where he fired an undetermined number of shots to the officers. Both officers were in hospital and their lives were not in danger.
One officer was shot in his leg, experienced a small fracture in his leg as well. Another officer was shot, grazed his neck, went into his shoulder. He went into surgery.
As of yesterday evening, the shooter remained at large, and a SWAT team was sent to the building to locate the assailant going from apartment to apartment. Mayor Baraka said the police had identified the subject and were hoping to have him in custody by this evening. At least 5 Ecuadorian police officers were killed yesterday in explosive attacks in response to prisoner transfers from overcrowded and violent penitentiaries, prompting President Guillermo Lasso to declare a state of emergency in 2 provinces. Lasso, a conservative, has repeatedly blamed violence, including inside prisons, on drug gang retaliation for his government's efforts to combat the trade. Lasso said the attacks overnight and early yesterday morning, including 9 explosions in 2 cities, were an open declaration of war by gangs. He declared a state of emergency in Guayas and Esmeraldas provinces, where security forces will intensify operations and a curfew will come into force from 9 p.m. 6 explosions were reported early Tuesday morning in several areas of the western city of Guayaquil, while 2 policemen were killed in an attack on a patrol car in the suburbs. 3 other officers were killed in the city later in the day. Ecuador's prison system has faced structural problems for decades, but jail violence has soared since late 2020. SNAI said 515 prisoners had so far been transferred from Guayaquil Penitenciaria, Ecuador's most violent prison, to others around the country. The transfers aim to reduce overcrowding and ensuring the safety of the prison population. National teams to shake off all ghosts and gear up for World Cup. That and more next in sports. Wales' preparations for the first World Cup in 64 years were dogged by poor form and injuries, but after qualifying confidently, they will be champing at the bit to get to Qatar, where their knockout hopes could hinge on a Battle of Britain. Rob Page's side made the World Cup via the playoffs, overcoming Austria and Ukraine to reach the Global Showpiece tournament for the first time since 1958. While the wheels came off after they booked their spot in Qatar with 4 defeats in 5 games, ensuring they drop out of the top tier of the Nations League, Wales will head to tournament targeting at least the last 16. After winnable games against the United States and Iran, they face a familiar enemy, England, in their final Group B match, but there will be no trepidation. Having played Belgium only recently deposed from the top of the FIFA rankings 3 times in the last 12 months, losing once, Wales know they are no pushovers for the top sides. And there will be plenty of fire in the Welsh Dragon after such a lengthy absence from the tournament. There have been 15 World Cups since Wales last reached the finals, and the last goal they conceded at the tournament was scored by a 70-year-old Pelé, the great Brazilian's first in the competition. Meanwhile, the United States will look to silence the critics after a rocky run-up to Qatar when they returned to the World Cup stage for the first time in 8 years. Their failure to qualify for the finals 4 years ago prompted much soul-searching within the sport's national governing body. Overall, this year's against World Cup contenders, the US record is worrying with 1 win, 3 draws and 3 losses. Coach Greg Berhalter said his side were moving in the right direction after the Saudi friendly. The US World Cup squad will be announced on 9 November. The heart of the team will be Christian Pulisic. The charismatic forward the United States hope will drum up the sport's popularity among fans. Berhalter, the youngest coach to manage the US since 1995, when he was appointed 4 years ago, age 45, knows all about the pressure of playing for the national team, having been in the squad the last time the US reached the quarterfinals in 2002. The 16th-ranked Americans will need every bit of talent available to them when they take on 5th-ranked England in Group B alongside Iran and Wales. There have been plenty of nearly men in the annals of world football nations with all the ingredients to deliver on the bigger stage. But who ended up with just crumbs for comfort? England under Gareth Southgate are the latest to own that unwanted label as they head to the Qatar World Cup finalists still saddled with ending an interminable wait for silverware. Suddenly, the air of expectancy around a squad led by Harry Kane and lauded with players who excel in some of the Premier League's biggest clubs has been replaced by good hope. For all the midfield flair at Southgate's disposal, the likes of Phil Foden, Jack Grealish and Bukayo Saka are reliant on Kane to score. He has 51 from 75 caps with Raheem Sterling and Marcus Rashford if selected, the only other members of Southgate's squad in double figures. In defence, England have looked anything but solid with 8 goals conceded in their last 3 games, and Harry Maguire, a player to whom Southgate has remained unshakably loyal, having a torrid time. And in midfield, Southgate's preference for caution has tended to stifle the attacking threat his team should possess. On paper, England have the potential for a deep run in Qatar, but it might need Southgate to allow his team to throw a little caution to the wind if they are to silence those who doubt their ability to finally deliver. Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan yesterday held a video conference with Turkish police forces deployed in Qatar to help security at the World Cup. Turkey has sent more than 2,000 riot police to Qatar in its security operations paid for by the competition host but under Turkish command. With a population of less than 3 million of just 380,000 are Qatari nationals, Qatar faces a shortage of personnel as it gears up for the month-long FIFA soccer tournament. It has turned to Turkey, its closest regional ally, to secure the competition, which is expected to attract an unprecedented 1.2 million visitors to the small but wealthy gas-exporting Gulf state. Under a protocol signed between the two countries and published in Turkey's official gazette, Ankara has pledged to deploy 3,000 riot police and 100 special operation police to Qatar, along with 50 bomb specialists and 80 sniper dogs and riot dogs. The first West Asian country to host a World Cup and the smallest nation to do so, Qatar has no previous experience of hosting international events on such scale. Turkey receives tens of millions of tourists annually and has hosted a summit of G20 leaders, Formula One racing and the UEFA Super Cup in recent years, but its security forces have also faced criticism over crackdowns on political protest. Alright, so that concludes today's news at 10. In our top story, 222 million ringgit allocated for 3 large-scale projects in Kepala Batas. Don't forget to tune in to updates at noon tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Thank you for watching.